Good morning, students. Today we will move on to the third stanza of the poem, The Trees. Before moving on, we have to discuss the second stanza, which we have studied in the previous lecture. Before moving on, let's have some points of the second stanza. The second stanza shows the struggle of the trees to escape from the house. What does the second stanza shows? The second stanza shows that the trees are working hard, they are struggling to separate themselves from the house. Roots, leaves, branches work hard to break free. What we got in the second stanza? That the parts of the trees, roots, leaves, and branches are working hard to make them free. They are the symbol of effort and determination. What are they showing? They are showing the efforts and determination. The next point, the change represents a strong desire for freedom and natural growth. What does the tree want? They want freedom. They want natural growth. That's why they are separating themselves. This shows the strong desire for liberty and their growth. The trees are compared to newly discharged patients. There is a metaphor for recovery and return to life. What is this? There is a metaphor for recovery and return to life. Liberation is not easy, but it brings hope, renewal, mending, and balance with the nature. That's what we have studied in the second stanza. What we have studied in the second stanza, the trees were, even their parts, roots, leaves, and branches, all were working hard to separate themselves from the veranda of the poet. And this shows the determination, their efforts, their recovery, their return to life. Okay, that was we had in the second stanza. Let's move on to the next stanza, the stanza third. The trees. I sit inside, doors open to the veranda, writing long letters. What is the poetess saying? That she is sitting inside her house. The doors of her house are open towards the veranda, and she is writing long letters. She is writing lengthy letters. What is she doing? She is writing. Sitting inside her house, she is writing. In which I scarcely, what is the meaning of scarcely? Hardly. In which I scarcely mention the departure. What is the departure? Leaving. In which I scarcely mention the departure of the forest from the house. She is saying that she is writing the letters, but she is not mentioning, she is not describing the leaving of the trees, leaving of the forest from her house. Though she is observing what the trees are doing, she is writing letters, but she is not describing the departure of the trees, the leaving of the trees from her house. The night is fresh, the whole moon shines, and the sky is still open. She is saying the night is fresh, the night is clear, the whole moon shines, that means the moonlight is shining brightly in the sky. The sky is clear too. The smell of leaves and lichen. What is lichen? You can say fungus. You can say crusty patches. What is our lichen? Lichen is fungus and crusty patches. She is saying that she is sitting inside the house, but the smell of leaves and lichen still reaches like a voice into the room. That means, as the voice reaches the room, sound reaches the room, in the same way, the smell, you can say scent, you can say fragrance, the smell of leaves, of what? Leaves and lichen. What is lichen? Fungus, or you can say crusty patches. The smell of leaves and lichen still reaches like a voice into the room. That means, as the voice, whenever we speak, when there is a sound, it reaches towards the rooms, and outside of the room. In the same way, the smell is also reaching to the room of the poetess where she is sitting. Again, I repeat the stanza. The poet is saying, I sit inside. That means she is sitting inside her room, inside her house. The doors of her house are open to the veranda. She is writing long letters. He is writing something in the letters. The letters are very lengthy. She is writing, but she is scarcely mentioning the departure. That means she is not writing about the departure, leaving of the trees from the house. Why? She does not mention. But she is observing what the trees are doing. The night is fresh. The night is clear. The whole moon shines. There is a moonlight all around. It is brightening. And the sky is still open. The sky is also clear. The smell of leaves and lichen still reaches like a voice into the rooms. That means the fragrance, the scent that the leaves and the trees have is reaching to the rooms of poets. Look at the stanza for 10 seconds. Okay, I hope you got it. Let's move to the poetic devices. Oh, there's alteration. Where there's alteration? Long letters. When there's alteration? When there's alteration? When the consonant sound at the beginning is repeated again and again. When there's alteration? When the consonant sound or letter in the beginning is repeated again and again. Look, there's long L, there's letters L. L is repeated 2 times, so there is alteration. Again, the fourth line, forest, from. There is also alliteration. Next, sky is still. There is also alliteration. And leaves L, lichen L. Again, there is L repeated. Consonant sound. Alliteration. And there is simile too in the last line. When there is simile, when there is a comparison between two things of different kinds in which at least one point is common. When there is a comparison between two things of different kinds in which at least one point is common. They are introduced by the comparison words such as like, is like, and the smell of the leaves and lichen is compared to a voice. So there is simile. There are mainly two devices, alliteration and simile. Look at that. Just recap the stanza. What? The poetess is writing the letter sitting inside her house, and she is not mentioning about the departure of the trees. She is describing about the atmosphere, which is very sweet, it is very fresh, clear, moon is shining brightly, and she is telling about the smell of the leaves and lichen that is she is smelling. Okay, let's move on to the question and answers from the stanza that you have to write in your notebook. The first question. What is the poet doing? The second one. What is she not mentioning in the letters? The next one, what does reach